anybody to die of hypothermia in less than about 5 or 6 hours. You're not going to die of hypothermia in the first 2 or 3 seconds after you hit that water. You just think you are. The cold water is not going to hurt you. Okay, I'm not getting into the theories of hypothermia and what can happen after hours of immersion in cold water. That's not going to be a factor here today. What is going to be a factor is after you turn your boat over, which I'm saying over and over again, you got my permission to do, I expect you to do it, do it. Now after it's done, and you're in the water, get away from that boat, will you please? Now why do I want you to get away from the boat? A swamp boat filled with water that puts your leg against a rock, it is not going to hurt the rock. It may bend the boat, but it is going to do some unfortunate things to your anatomy if your anatomy is between a swamped boat and a rock or some other obstruction. Folks, please, if and when you turn over, get away from the boat. Swim aggressively. When you hit the water, come up fast. Look around. See where the boat is. And see which way you're going. It's confusing. I know you've been upside down. I know it's cold. Okay, you're going to be cold, you're going to be confused. I stay cold and confused all the time. You come up, you stick your head up in the air, hopefully at this stage of the game. You find where the blinking boat is. You figure out as quick as you can which way that boat's going. Hey, I don't care if the river goes that way. If the current where you're at is doing like this, upstream is going to be whichever direction that water is coming from. Hiwassee's a wide river. In that wide river, it's meandering. There are currents going like this. The whole river's going that direction. I'm trying to get you to get into your heads, get through the bone and down to where it counts, to get upstream of the boat. Now, there is no excuse, as far as I am concerned, for some idiot to hit that water, turn loose of his paddle, and say, gulp, I'm drowned. Oh, gosh, you're not drowning. You haven't got enough water in you to drown at this stage of the game. You've got to get away from your boat so that I don't have to kind of come over there to you and yell, idiot, get away from that boat. Get upstream of it. If it catches a rock and catches you, I am not strong enough to grab a boat that now may weigh a ton. I can't move that boat. And neither can any other instructor that's with you in the group. You can't move a ton of boat. It may take 20 minutes like it did me last week to move a swamped boat. And if somebody's stuck their idiot foot between that boat and a rock, I'm not going to be able to get it off inside of a half an hour, and you're going to be very uncomfortable during that 30 minutes. Any questions at this stage of the game of what I'm trying to get across to you? I'm going to predict today there are going to be 3 people are going to fall into the water. 4, excuse me. 4, right there. They're going to hit that water. They're going to say it's cold. I don't know what to do. I'm miserable. And they're going to let the boat come down on top of them. I am going to have palpitations of my simple little heart until you get the realization, hey, what Dick was saying to me is right. Just simply, aggressively swim away from that boat. You're still going to do it every year, and this is the 21st year we've had this scout school up here. And every cotton picking years, I've got to watch somebody do that, hit the water, and not respond like I'm telling you to do. I'm not asking you guys to salvage your boat at this point. Your instructor will give you will tell you what to do and help you get your boat up when it hangs up. All I want you to do is to get away from that boat and get upstream of it. We'll solve the problem about what to happen when the boat hangs up on something, which I guarantee you it will do. And I prefer not to have somebody attached to the boat at that point. I'm not interested in what happens to any equipment. If you want to throw your equipment away, it's perfectly okay. You can buy some new equipment. I don't give a blinking heck if your boat costs $950. It can grab a rock. I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in you saving equipment at the expense of your own safety. It's deluding to think that I've turned my boat over and I'm going to lose my boat, so I do this. I can wrap this thing around my hand like that. Hey, this is what you don't do. I wrap this thing around my hand like that. I put my feet on the bottom of the river and I grab like this. You know what's happening? You got a boat that's weighing a ton. Do you honestly think that you can stop 1 ton from moving? You don't. But you know what could and does and has happened and will probably happen again? From some idiot who doesn't remember what he's being told here today. He's going to jam his feet on the bottom of the river. See that ankle? On the bottom of the rivers, there are crevices. Hiwassee's got herds and herds and herds of these beautiful little crevices. Your foot goes down in there and gets wedged. You're hanging onto that boat, you wrap it around your arm, and what happens? Whammo. You are getting pulled by your boat. You're attached, unfortunately, between your arm and your leg. Got a bunch of bones in there. Your foot is jammed into a crevice on the bottom of the river. You got problems. Now let's talk about what you do when you turn over. Your boat is going to float on downstream. I don't want you to grab that thing and try to stop that boat by wrapping it, hanging on like this. Hey, I can stop my boat. Heck, forget that doggone boat. I'm not interested in the boat. What I am interested in is that you people get your feet up on the surface in fast water so that there is absolutely no possibility that you're going to have a foot jammed down in, underneath, and behind something, and you get stuck there, and you're being held forward by the motion of the water. And I got to react a lot faster than I got the intelligence and the ability to do. Or any one of your other instructors, the same problem. You cannot effect a rescue of a person in fast water. It can't be done. Now don't tell me people haven't been rescued in fast water, they have. But you cannot effect a rescue once you've got the foot caught on the bottom. If you don't get it loose yourself, you have fought a farm. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to be practical on the things that can happen on this river that I have seen happening here and on the Ocoee and on the Chautauqua. Get it into your heads here, and don't let me have to go after somebody because Dick's full of mud. Okay, I'm full of mud. I admit it in advance. Once you get into the water and are swimming, I say you swim aggressively to safety. Okay, where is safety at? Still water. Where is the still water? Heck, I don't know where you're going to find still water. you got brains up here. You got to see a place that you want to swim to, and I say aggressively swim to that place. If there is any question about your ability to swim aggressively, I want you to get your feet up in the air. I can't put one here because I don't float very well. But you get your feet up on the surface, and when you're being tumbled or rolled, you do not want your feet and arms out. You want them pulled into your body. There have been 2 drownings on the Nantahala in the last couple of years by people who have done exactly what I'm saying you don't do. One fellow went over Nantahala Falls, apparently with his arms outstretched. His foot caught a crevice in Nantahala Falls, and he bought a farm. And there must have been 1,000 people right close by. You cannot effect a fast water, swift water rescue fast enough to make it effective. You must make it on your own. Feet up in fast water, swim aggressively to a point of safety, and you've got to use your own God-given intelligence to determine where that point of safety is. Still water. Point. Snags. Now don't tell me they're not snags, they're not strainers in the Hiwassee River. I had a class up here 2 years ago. I'm going to tell you the bad things that happened to me so that perhaps you can look forward and see where the problems may arise for yourself so that you don't create problems for me or for somebody else. A strainer is a tree, a log, something that is hanging into the water. Water goes through branches and leaves just beautifully. Human bodies don't. They got a bad tendency to hang up. It's awfully difficult to swim through a tree in 20-mile-an-hour water. Hey, Dick, we don't have it on the Hiwassee. Yes, you do have it on the Hiwassee. I hope I've warned all of my instructors exactly where it is, around the big bears. About 2/3 of the way down on River Right. I led my class over there, and one kid overturned, and I watched in, I will say, absolute horror because of all the times that I have tried to tell people, you anticipate, look for, watch out for, and avoid. A-V-O-I-D, strainers. You look ahead, if you see a tree down in the water, will you please, before you get there, go away from it. How are you going to do that? I can't tell you now how you're going to get away from a tree in the water, but have the intelligence to look forward. And if you see something hanging down in that water, if you go into that, you got problems. I saw this boy swim. He swam into the tree. He was sucked under the tree. His boat hung up. And folks, I'll tell you, I'm not proud of myself at all when I say I was responsible for that person. He came out. Perfectly okay, but he might not have. It would have been because of my incompetence, my stupidity, my inability to adequately convey to people, hey, we come out here to have a good time, we come out to challenge, we come to have fun, and we also come to challenge ourselves in a safe fashion, which will give you all the adrenaline flow you need, but you don't do it in such a fashion that you get yourself or your partner or somebody else hurt. If that boy hadn't come out from underneath that tree, I'd have an awfully hard time living with myself, because I was in charge and responsible for his safety, just as I like to think I'm responsible for each person out here today. Now, if you guys don't like to listen to me talk, Fine, take on off, go. You got my permission. You hired me, and I'm getting my $5 here from everybody. I'm gonna make some money today. But if I can't talk at you and convey a message to you, and I'm gonna show you a fun sport, but I'm trying to convince you in advance that things you don't do on the river. You don't prove bravery or macho-ness by being stupid. You prove it by being able, capable, learning, knowing the sport, knowing what you can do, going a little bit beyond that, and doing it. Strainers in the river are a real problem. We've got strainers all over this. Buffalo River, where you've got the Grimes Canoe Base, is one, to me, of the most scary places in this part of the world. And I'm not sure that enough people recognize that strainers, trees, logs, barbed wire, hanging down, fishing lines, these these fine people who are fishing out here in the river, and they bust their line, they got a hook hanging down. You know what a fish hook will do if you don't keep your eyes open and see what you're going under? Have you ever seen a fish hook catch somebody right under their eye? Just tied to a tree? I'll tell you one thing, if you don't watch what you're doing, we'll consider that a strainer. That is a strainer. I saw a guy catch a fish hook on the Buffalo River right here under his eye. Thank goodness he just pulled a little hunk of meat out, because that line was not thinking about breaking. He just pulled a little hunk of meat out. Fine, he just had a nice little hunk of meat torn out of his eye. That in itself could be a real bad thing, maybe not fatal. But that same big tree in a bend of the river on the Buffalo. And I saw this on a Buffalo canoe race a couple of years ago. And there were two people, they were Red Cross instructors. I'm not going to use their names, I don't remember, it doesn't make any difference. But I thought those two fellows were having troubles. And I took a couple of my Explorer Scouts, got ahead of them, and we sat on a tree. Darned it, those fellows didn't come into that tree. They turned over, they put their boat under the tree, and they were hanging on there. Help! And a couple of 14-year-old kids helped these two Red Cross instructors get off of the tree. If we hadn't been there, I don't know, I guess it'd have been okay. They did not anticipate that trees or strainers in the river can create a problem, a stupid problem. Let's not create stupid problems for ourselves. I don't want to have to rescue somebody that's hanging on a tree, because I expect each of you people today, if you turn your boats over, that you swim aggressively away from danger. That danger can well be a tree, and you can't sit there and float into it. Point. I've talked about three things that are factors here on this river. Not just this river, but all whitewater rivers. There are other things. I'll go over them, but not extensively. On overturn, get away from the boat. Keep your feet off the bottom in fast water because of the danger of foot entrapment. Anticipate strainers. Strainers, trees, things hanging down in front of you. And if you overturn before or above them, swim aggressively away from that danger. If everything you do wrong and you swim into a strainer, you do anything you can to keep from getting pulled underneath. You aggressively clamber, climb, claw, I don't care what you do, but go over it. Branches hang down in the water, and people can hang up. Life jackets are pretty bad about that. Unfortunately, they will hang up on the trees. If you go into a snag, if you go into a tree, if you go into something, if you've done everything wrong that I've been trying to tell you, avoid. If you can't, don't avoid it, clamber over. I can think of 3 people that I've seen go under trees. And somewhere within 100 and some people out here today, somebody, sometime today, I don't know when nor where, I cannot anticipate it, but one of you people is going to find yourselves sometime today with a tree coming up on you and you're in the water. I hope you're going to remember, maybe, just maybe remember a little bit about what I'm talking about. There are other things that can occur on rivers, and if you like whitewater canoeing as much as I do, if you enjoy the challenge of this sport, if you really get into it, if you really want to do some fast water like Barnett Williams and some of his people are going over here today, they're going to go, I think they're going to the Little River. Over in the Smokies. They're going there, some of the best paddlers in this part of the country, if not in the country. They're going over and challenging. Ben Northcutt's one of my explorers from many, many moons ago. I tell you how old he is now. But they're going over and run the Little River. There are waterfalls over there. Okay, I said we don't have waterfalls. Sure, you got to watch out for waterfalls on a river. I've come around the bend in a river and seen a horizon line. What's an horizon line? It's kind of a flat-looking spot there, and you see tips of trees hanging up downstream of that. Uh-oh. Hey, wait a minute. I think we got problems coming up. I think this boat is going to go flying. I am going to get out of this real fast. And I have made a couple of panic, and I do mean panic, runs for the bank and grab my tree or something, keep from going over. Ben Northcutt, the guy I'm talking about, is going over there and run the Little River. I saw Ben come down the Ball River. If you know where Ball River Falls is, Ball River Falls is about 80 feet high. And Ben did what he shouldn't have done. He kind of laid his boat up on the side, and about 2 seconds later, his boat was going, fortunately, without him in it. And I watched his boat do an 80-foot waterfall. Fortunately, Ben wasn't in it. There are waterfalls. You're not going to run into those, so that's not really a fact. There are things called hydraulics, where water comes over, kind of like over a dam. It flows over something. You see what I'm doing here like this? When the water drops, there is kinetic energy in that water. It releases that energy by roiling around, turning like this. You see what I'm doing here? I got water coming over a little drop. The water goes around, it circulates like this. It forms what we call out here south hole or hydraulic. And that's where I'm going to teach you guys, if you want to follow me today, I'm going to teach you how to get into these little hydraulics, put your boat in sideways, and surf. Sitting there surfing is playing in that little south hole. There are also big south holes coming over low-head dams that can catch people in there. There are a couple of students from Middle Tennessee College on Stones River. A couple of them were drowned going over a little low-head dam on Stones River. They got stuck in a hydraulic, they could not get out, and they were drowned. Simply because they didn't recognize the existence of this little low-head dam into which the south hole or roiling, turning water formed. And these people should have known better. They were drowned. Again, I'm going to emphasize the idea that I'm saying these things to you people is not to say, oh gosh, you're all going to get killed. You're not. Not if you listen to what I've been talking about here this morning. And that's one of the only things that, a little bit of experience that I've got, that I can convey on to you people so that I can earn my $5. And if I can convey these ideas to you, safety things, you can get out, you can do this sport, you can have a lot of fun, you can have the challenge of this sport without getting yourself hurt or getting me hurt in the process, trying to help you. We need to talk another general subject. That is your responsibilities toward other people on the river. I ran the Rio Grande in Colorado a couple of years ago. I got down to where I left the car, the takeout bridge, and there was a very irate and mad landowner. I think he was a landowner. At least he was mad. He was a lot bigger than I was. I don't like confrontations. For some reason, this gentleman did not care for boaters. He came up the bank of the river and he yells out to me, and I've never seen this guy before in my life. If you land that boat down there, I'm going to have you arrested. So what do? Keep going. We all, as an organization, as individuals, as organizations, as members of the TSRA, Tennessee Scenic Rivers Association, Canoe Club, scouting organizations, have a responsibility to others on the river. The landowners have rights. Pretty high tech. I do it because I like it that way. I do it. I don't have any objection to buying a nice new piece or something or another every once in a while. My wife gives me down in the country and says I shouldn't drive that brand new car. It's got 161,000 miles on it. It works. It's functional. It serves my purpose. The value of your equipment is immaterial, particularly if it does not serve your purpose. If you're attempting to buy equipment and impress people, then forget it in this whitewater sport. Get equipment that works for you. I got a fine brand new paddle here. That paddle is effective. It is for me. It might not be for you. The length of this paddle works for me. Now, I'm not going to attempt to set rules and say you must have a paddle of X length or Y width. I just know that the Norse whitewater paddle works for me. It's tough, it's rugged, it's been well used, it's been well used, I assure you. I bought my wife a beautiful paddle out in Montana last summer. This is a real high-tech, extremely lightweight, and with a great deal of fear and trepidation. I carry it because if anything happens to it, I'm not going home. It's an extremely lightweight paddle, and it costs a heck of a lot of money. Now the comparison between the two, 45 bucks for that paddle right there, $95 for this. That paddle is too heavy for my wife, who's about that tall and weighs about 100 pounds. This paddle works for her. The equipment that you use, you should make it work for you. Let me give you guys, go to a store, listen to a salesman, read about it. If you're going to spend money on a paddle, get something that works for you. Canoe. Okay, this is a dinosaur. This is a blue hole. I am on quite a few hundred miles in this boat. There are a few holes. Other folks don't care for that. There are some beautiful boats on the market. Don't impress people with your ability to buy the highest tech, most expensive boat. You can buy a second-hand boat, and it may be perfectly acceptable unless you're trying to impress people. I don't care whether anybody likes my boat or not. I can take that thing down the Doe River and drop 160 feet in 1 mile and get along just as well somebody with $1,150 high-tech boat. Now, I'm not condemning it. I don't mean that. I don't mean to say that it isn't fine to have excellent, good, top-quality equipment. I'm just drawing this parallel. The Confederate Army was understaffed, undermanned. They had relatively speaking, poor equipment. They kept what they had in working order, and they made it work for them. Won their battles. Some of the stuff that you take down the river. Obviously a boat. Obviously a paddle. I'm not telling you guys to go out and spend $95 tomorrow to buy a paddle. You don't need to. But if you are going to become and be whitewater paddlers, then get good. Get equipment that is effective and works for you. What are you going to take down the river? What do you need to take down the river? Not a heck of a lot. I can make out pretty well going down river with just a few little minor things. Protection from my little ball knee is here. A means of getting water out of my boat if I get it splashed in. Something in which I can put dry clothes. Something to protect me from the rain. And if you've got as little upholstery on the top of your head as I have right now, and don't you guys standing around here don't think it can't happen to you, because I got a whole herd of Explorer Scouts, and they are losing their hair. So it can and will happen eventually. I just got started early. Okay, I wear a helmet. I will probably wear a helmet today, because if I bump my head, it takes the skin off the top, and I do not like it. I tore up my shins last Saturday because I banged them against rocks. I haven't figured out a way yet to keep from banging up my shins, except maybe wearing soccer guards, and that's not real practical. So I just put up with banged knees, but I dislike very much having my head, particularly blood coming down in my eyes. I dislike it very much. Gentlemen's string. Every time I get on the river, at least one person has got to take nylon string. They got to take a 2-cent baler. That's what I got to sing here for. And they take nylon string and they wrap it around their baler because they don't want to lose that baler. Well, that's great. I think it's wonderful not to want to lose a baler. But look, let me show you what. You turn over. You got a baler in there. You know what the breaking strength is on a piece of nylon cord? About 800 pounds. You know what 800 pounds of pull will do on your leg? It will skin you alive. I don't care whether you lose your baler, but please, when you tie stuff in, use cotton cord like this. Because I want you to lose your baler, but I don't want that blinking baler wrapping your leg. Oh, great flying catfish. How many people have I seen go down this blinking river and they got a canteen? Oh, golly, the Scouts have got undoubtedly the worst canteens that have ever been designed. Where in the world they ever got those canteens? Oh, they are the most useless things that were ever designed in my life and I've ever seen. Good old plastic bottle like this. That's the easiest thing in the world. It's not going to ever catch you. It isn't going to wrap your leg. And those darn canteens, they're made so they won't break. And I'll bet you there's at least 6 of you have got canteens in those cotton things that they put them in. They are designed on the overturn of a boat to wrap a foot and have a tendency to hold you in the boat. Now look, I like y'all to stay in your boats. But if you're swimming something like Lily Rapid and you don't have, as I did, not the God-given sense to realize that if I've got something in my boat that comes loose and wraps my leg, I'm going to stay with that boat whether I want to or not, and I do not, under some circumstances, wish to be attached to my boat. I want everything to be tightly tied in, and anything that's loose, like a baler, I want to break so that it does not attach me to that boat. Please, no nylon cord. Now, if you want to use nylon cord, I don't have an objection to it. Take your rain jacket. Hey, is it going to rain today? Heck no, it ain't going to rain today. But I have a rule when I go down a river, regardless of where it is, I take a jacket with me. I've always carried this jacket, and it has been a very, very good thing to have. If you're going to take a jacket with you, take it and tie it. Now, if you want to use your nylon cord, that's okay at this point. You take this and tie it back up either in the bow of the stern of your boat or under a seat, and you tie it so tightly that if you turn that boat over, this thing stays exactly where you put it. I dislike very much somebody taking a nylon jacket. These things don't rip very well. This is tied into a thwart like this, and you get wrapped around that nylon jacket, you're staying with your boat. Hey, look, folks, don't stay with your boat. And don't let something in the boat hold you in. Equipment should be tightly tied in so that it cannot hold you in that boat, or so that it breaks, comes loose, and to heck with it, go buy another one, or get a 2-cent baler from somebody else. We've talked life jackets, and I wasn't avoiding. A life jacket is your friend. A comfortable life jacket fits you. Now I realize a few of you starting out today, you may not have paddled a lot. Some of you may have horse collars. Okay, that's all right. I don't object to having a horse collar. You're going to be a whitewater paddler. Get something that you can paddle in all day, that you can do low braces, high braces. You can paddle all day without the jacket wearing you out under your arms, so you go home like that. Something that's comfortable, that fits you, and wear it. You do not prove your macho-ness or your bravery by failing to wear a life jacket on the river. You prove your stupidity to anybody that is knowledgeable. If you don't wear a life jacket, you are stupid. I personally do not care to be around stupid people, except myself. Wear a life jacket. Something to protect your knees. I've got the finest set high-tech knees. The newest in equipment to tie them on. Back to the Confederate Army. They're effective, they work, they do what I want them to do. I've got these things on, I tie them around with string. If this ties or hangs into something, pull off my legs immediately. I don't care about losing these things. I don't want these pads to hold me. I don't want nylon wrapping these things around. Nice, beautiful things that'll never come off. If something catches, I want it to break. I want it to come off of me, and I want it to come off of me. I haven't yet figured out a way to get out of my life jacket real quickly, but I got hung on that handle, on the stob. Y'all know what a stob is? I bet about half of you really don't know what a stob is. It's something sticking out of a tree. It's a hunk, a pointed piece sticking out. I ducked under something, my life jacket caught, and my boat went out from under me. And I was hanging there by the back end of my life jacket. Now that isn't fun either. You gotta have a life jacket so it really will not come off. I hadn't figured out how I could release myself. I got out of it here. I suggest very much, I realize you guys are going to all have throw ropes. But eventually, if you're going to be in whitewater paddling, you're going to want a throw rope. This thing came out of its bag about 20 times last Saturday. It because as I led this group down the river, I had to land my boat, I had to get out, I had to go up and run safety for the rest of the people coming down. And you've got to have something that you can throw to somebody, and then be able to catch them going downriver and hopefully pull them safely. Now I realize you don't all need these. I'm sure all your instructors will have them in the boat. Eventually, you should carry a throw rope with you in your boat. I also carry a carabiner. I understand there's some controversy right now as to whether the carabiner should actually be hooked onto the life jacket. I have heard that in some circumstances these non-locking carabiners like this will open up and have hung somebody, you see, by the life jacket. I haven't quite decided whether that's a real factor. I still carry a carabiner so that I can use it to set up a Z-drag on a pin boat. Pulleys and things like that I haven't got around to carrying yet. I thought my helmet was in here, but I don't see it. About that particular time. It is there. Thank you very much. But gosh, I'm going blind as well as old. I wear a helmet. I'm not ashamed of it at all. I wear a helmet almost all the time right now. I want something that's going to protect my head. I can make do fairly well if I bang up my arm or I bang up my leg. But if I hit my head very hard, which I have managed to do on a few occasions, a serious hit on the head and you're out of commission. I think the helmet is one of the best things that you can wear on the river, besides your life jacket. And I strongly recommend that most everybody get a helmet and wear it. And it's not showing cowardice. Protect yourself adequately with perfect equipment like I've got here.
Scarring that head would be like cutting a beautiful painting too.
All right, Hubert, I'm dependent on you for something tonight. I suggest you have some kind of a first aid kit. Now, I don't care whether you're constipated on the river or not. That's not the point I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things in here that may be a factor. You may have cuts. You very definitely can have some serious bruises from time to time. Tech bags here.
And it's new too.
It's high tech. It's wonderful equipment. It works. It's effective. It does what I want it to do. I put a dry jacket in here. I put my first aid kit in here. I put my lunch in here. And I don't mean lunch today. Now, I understand you're going to get your lunch. That's not a factor. I don't expect you all to have these things. I'm talking about when you guys go out on these trips on your own. It's stupid to go down the river and 4 hours later have a rainstorm come up and you are miserable. I'm not going to say you're going to die of hypothermia, but it wasn't too many years ago on this river at a scout school. One of my explorers came up to me and said, "Dick, there's a kid awful cold over here." And I looked over and there was one scrawny little kid that probably weighed about 80 pounds laying in the bottom of the boat. We had to take that guy out. We built a fire. It was raining. We had to build a fire and fry this guy over the fire. Have fun doing the sport. Don't make work for other people in the process. Me and the others, that's not very good, the other instructors and I are here for you to walk up to and say, "Dick, I don't understand this. How do you do that?" And that's what I challenge each of you people to do today. If you don't understand what I've been saying to you, if you're unfortunate enough to get me in your class, or you in my class, walk up to me and grab me. I want you to ask me the question, "Dick, how do you do this? Why are you doing it this way? I can't do it. How do you do it?" I don't expect each person today to be able to do everything, and I may cover stuff, think you know how to do it, and you don't have beans idea what I'm talking about. Walk up to me or walk up to any one of your instructors, look them in the eye and say, "Explain it again, I'm dense." Or you don't have to put it that way. I'm dense. I don't understand. I want to learn. That's what